Scotland. That is the price of independence. Now, any comments on the papers or anything else we're covering, 53106, or you can email breakfast@newstalk.ie. But I'm joined in studio this morning by Ron Immink, co-founder of Bookbuzz, and they are, of course, the people who help businesses make decisions by using the latest business titles. Ron, you're very welcome.
Good morning, I am. How are you?
Not too bad at all. Ron, this time of the year, New Year, people always think about change, either for their companies or themselves. And we're going to look at a book this morning. It's called Poke the Box by Seth Godin. It's all about change and getting up and go.
Yes. What Seth says, and he's a prolific writer, he wrote Tribes, he wrote The Purple Cow, he wrote Linchpin, and this book is about that you do not have a choice. You can sit still but which is pointless. You need to get up and go and do something or do anything. And he calls it instication capital. So you have intellectual capital, you have network capital, you have social capital, and he calls this instigation capital. And what he would advise people is to follow their heart. And probably the best question to ask is, and I'm going to ask you, Ian, if you were speaking on TED, what would you be talking about? You know TED.com?
No.
Famous. Okay. TED.com is a very good website where inspirational people talk about the things they like, they research. So if you were on TED, what would you be talking about?
Oh, I've no idea at this time of the morning.
It is probably too soon. So if it's something you're passionate about, imagine you talking at the TED, and that's the thing you need to follow. And this is not just about startups. This is about basically not doing anything is not an option.
What does the Poke the Box book advise people?
Okay. First one, follow your heart. The second one is that in a world where everything is commoditized by technology and globalization, that the only thing that is different is your passion, that hard work always pays off. He uses the example of Isaac Asimov, the science fiction writer. He wrote 40 or 400, 400. And he wrote actually every day from 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. It is about being different, that movement is an asset. The Blink guy, what's his name? The guy from Blink.
I forget. We discussed
well, it's
this
early morning.
Well.
You know, the 10,000 hours. And that failure is an event. It's just a moment in time. It's not something that is ongoing. And safe does not exist. And maybe the best way to describe it is, if you look at a log in a river, now this becomes a little bit cerebral, but if you're a log in the river and you follow the river, there's very little turbulence around it. If you try to swim against the river, there's a lot of turbulence. So you just have to follow the flow or the flux, if that makes sense.
A lot of the books we look at are for entrepreneurs, and a lot of the books are for, helping people starting up a company or a business. Yeah. This isn't, I suppose, a business startup. This is about a personal startup, I suppose.
This is about doing anything. Start a project, start a movement, start an institution, go up and do something. The only thing I think he points out is that not moving is not an option. Now, if you're interested in other books around career change, the classic one is What Color Is Your Parachute? If you're looking for some inspiration, there's a guy called Gary Duffy. Have you heard of him? He wrote a book called Who Dares Runs, but he ran and swam and cycled 10 triathlons in 10 days.
Jerry Duffy, isn't it? Not
Jerry
Gary.
Duffy.
Jerry, not Gary. Beg your pardon.
Jerry. Yeah, sorry. Fantastic guy. So if you're looking for inspiration, if he can do it, and when he does his seminars, there's actually a presentation where he shows himself as a fat bloke smoking a lot of cigarettes. And he's now as healthy as you can imagine, and it's all about willpower. I'm sure you heard about shepherd's pie.
We have. We had George Morant in just a week ago.
George is a classic example of somebody who was downtrodden, didn't go well, and tells the story of actually crisis as being something that actually elevates and eventually turns out for the good. I'm sure for a lot of people at the moment it looks very, very gloomy. But with all the newspapers, and I just heard you reviewing the newspapers, how can you not be gloomy? But there's always light at the other tunnel, and change is good.
A lot of these books, do they give advice to people to stick with these plans and these ideas? Because as you know, look, we all start off with the best of intentions in the new year, and yet we follow the plan for a few weeks and then we let it slip.
If you listen to Seth, he would say, don't plan too much, and actually account for some unpredictability and serendipity in what you're doing. Movement will create things that you are not expecting, and that's the point.
Okay, Ron Immink from Bookbuzz. We'll have to leave it there. We're going to put all those titles on our breakfast homepage. Ron Immink, thank you very much for coming in this morning. Well,